From tragic accidents to disturbing murders, the world is a dark place, and no one is going to blame you if you've gotten desensitized to its unending madness. But while it's one thing to watch a newscaster report the grisly news, it's a whole different ballgame when you get to hear it as it happens. And that's what these 911 calls feel like. Disturbing and creepy first-hand events that would make the skin of the most desensitized listeners crawl. Number 1. Faye Marie Swetlink case. In February 2020, a mother called 911 to report a missing case of her child, a 6-year-old girl named Faye Marie Swetlink.
Langston County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
16 Londonderry Square. I need to report a missing child.
All right, repeat that.
Her child had just gotten back from school and was playing in the front when she went missing. The woman told the dispatcher that she had searched extensively for her child and asked her neighbors if they had seen her, but no one could give her a helpful answer. In the 911 call, you can hear the fear and fright in her voice, even as she calmly relays relevant information to the dispatcher.
We can't find my daughter. She was playing outside, and now I can't find her. And I have
Okay, how old is she?
She is 6. She's going to be 7 in June.
All right. I'm going to stay on the line with you, but I'm going to get KCPD.
The police would search for the girl for about 3 days, searching perimeters and watching CCTV footage around the area and questioning neighbors and anyone close to the family. Little Faye's body was found 3 days after her abduction. Investigations would reveal that little Faye had been killed by a neighbor named Cody Scott Taylor. Investigators found her polka dot boot and a soup ladle with freshly dug dirt in his trash can. Investigations also showed that Faye had been murdered just hours after she had been kidnapped. She died of asphyxiation. Painfully, the monster who committed this heartless crime took his life before the police could make him face the law. Number 2, Glendale shooting. For many Americans, the chances of getting caught in the middle of a mass shooting has skyrocketed over the years. So you can imagine the fear of people who found themselves caught in the middle of the Glendale shootings. Thankfully, they didn't let their fear stop them from calling 911, and the police found their lines flooded with frightened and alarmed people calling for help.
Hurry up, please. Oh, my God.
911, what is your emergency?
Glendale Westgate. There's a guy shooting up everything with an AR-15. We have 2 people down on the east side of the parking lot of Westgate. 2 people down, critically injured, AR-15.
Listen, on the east side of the Westgate?
Yes, by Johnny.
By the time police got to the scene, the shooter had already shot 3 victims, but luckily, all of them survived. So, what happened? It turned out that a man named Hernandez had traveled to a neighborhood on the 95th and Glendale Avenues with the sole intention of murdering people. Hernandez videotaped himself drawing a firearm and informed authorities he was targeting couples on that particular day. The police said he planned on killing 10 people, but his gun got jammed after shooting and injuring a 30-year-old woman, a 19-year-old guy, and a 16-year-old girl. He did it because he wanted to gain some respect after being bullied all his life. Well, whatever respect he is looking for will be found in jail, where he might spend the next 19 to 44 years. Number 3, Martha Hadjians. Good mothers are precious, and most sons would not mess with their mothers. In fact, they would be the first to tell you that they would kill for them. I wish this was the case with Martha Hadjian, a mother who had to call her husband asking him to call 911 to pull her car over because her son was going crazy and threatening her.
My wife just called me telling me to call 911. I'm heading that way now. I don't know what's going on. She said, call 911. She needs him to pull her car over.
Okay, I want you to stop. Stop for 1 second. What do you mean by Encore? Do you mean downtown?
No, it's the Encore.
Their son, Alejandro Sanabria, a 26-year-old man, would fatally stab his mother before the cops could arrive at the scene. It turned out that he had mental illness, more specifically schizophrenia, and had suffered mental breakdowns as a result. This might have been the reason why Martha didn't want him around his partner, who was pregnant at the time, a decision that would deteriorate her son's mental condition. And as it deteriorated, she was forced to text her husband, asking him to call 911. The mother and son were eventually seen in a supermarket together, with Martha looking terrified. When Alejandro saw the cops, he pulled a knife on his mom, and it took 4 cops to subdue him. Unfortunately, not before Martha and a police officer were injured in a fatal scuffle that left her dead and the police officer seriously injured. Number 4. Orlando, Florida waitress, Flavian Carvalho. We live in a weird world where people pull out their phones when they see a stranger in danger, rather than lending a hand to help. Thankfully, this wasn't the case when a Florida waitress named Flavian Carvalho found herself in a similar situation. It was New Year's Day, and Flavian was not supposed to be at work, but she was forced to cover for a coworker who had called in sick. When afternoon came, Flavian spotted a family of 4 sitting at a table. A couple and their 2 children, an 11-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. In the 911 call Flavian made to the police, she said she noticed a number of things that seemed off with the family when she was taking their orders.
We have some customers here with 2 kids. One of the kids is with a lot of bruises on his arms and on his face.
The kid in question was the 11-year-old boy. She also noted that the parents of the boy had not ordered anything for him.
And the parent is not done giving food for him, but is giving to the another kids that are with them.
And when she asked the parent at the table why they didn't order anything for the boy's stepfather stated that the boy would eat when they returned home. Seeing this as a possible sign of child abuse, and being a mother herself, she secretly asked the boy if he was okay by writing a sign that read, "Do you need help?" Her suspicions were confirmed by the youngster, who nodded after she asked twice, and that is when Flavian made the call. Thanks to her, the police were able to arrest the couple and reveal to the world that the boy had suffered torturous abuse at his parents' hands. The Christmas before, he had even been handcuffed and hung upside down as a Christmas present. These abusive monsters that the boy was unfortunate to have as parents are set to face the law and answer for their crimes. Number 5. Danica Brinkt. Once in a while, you come across a situation so unbelievably tragic, you're forced to take a walk to detoxify your system. This 911 call is one of them. In April 2021, a mother named Danica Brinkt called 911 to report that her son had been shot and killed by someone. At the time, both the mother and her son were staying in a hotel when, according to her, in the middle of the night, someone crept into their room and shot her son in the head and in the stomach. According to her, she tried to stop them from escaping, but got shot in her hands. However, there were a couple of things that didn't add up in Danica's account of events. For one, she couldn't tell where the supposed shooter ran to.
Somebody shot my son.
Someone shot your son?
Yes.
Is he in the room?
Yes.
Okay, is he alive?
I don't know if he's alive. My hand is shot.
Okay, how long ago was this?
This is about 30 minutes ago.
It happened 30 minutes ago?
And she couldn't even tell if her son was still alive or dead. One would think the first instinct when your child gets shot is to try everything in your power to ensure they stay alive. But that wasn't the case with Danica. She leisurely walked downstairs to make the 911 call, and it was the dispatcher who eventually got her to check on the state of her child. In fact, the call dispatcher sounded way more concerned about her son's welfare than she was.
Breathing?
He was breathing a little bit.
He was breathing a little bit? Okay. Are you the only one in the room with him in 301? Was there anybody else in there?
No, I'm downstairs.
I understand, but like, is anybody else in the room with your 6-year-old right now?
No.
Okay. Honey, what's your last name?
Brent.
By the time the police officers arrived, they found the 6-year-old boy in the room with gunshot wounds. Both mother and son were taken to a hospital for treatment. Unfortunately, the son was pronounced dead, while Danica was treated and released. Then, after the investigations that followed, Danica would admit to being the shooter that violently took her son's life. After initially trying to intentionally mislead the authorities, it was also revealed that she was schizophrenic. Her family revealed that they had tried and failed to get help for their daughter. They had also tried and failed to rescue the boy from his mentally ill mother. Tragically, the 6-year-old's tragic death was preceded by years and years of physical and emotional abuse at the hands of his mother. Number 6. Goose Creek drowning. There are few things as frightening as the fear of drowning, but you could say watching someone you love drown comes pretty close. Even worse is when you try everything in your power to stop it from happening and fail. This is exactly what happened here.
Loudoun County 911, what is your emergency?
Hi, we called about someone in River Creek, and they went to the Maryland side of River Creek, and we're on the Virginia side, and someone's drowning.
The frantic voice you just heard is the friend of a teenager named Fitz Thomas, the son of Loudoun Community's NAACP president, Michelle Thomas. According to reports, Fitz and his friends had gone swimming in the confluence of Goose Creek and the Potomac River when, after reaching the bank, they turned to see he had vanished. At first, they thought it was a prank, but after searching for him, they realized something was awfully wrong. Fitz was drowning, and they had to call 911. There was a lot of back and forth. They kept asking questions for at least 8 minutes while the boy was still in the water.
This is Montgomery. She said somebody drowned, and there's a helicopter that was
we just found him, and he's unconscious. He's unconscious.
Okay, is he out of the water, or?
He's out of the water, unconscious now.
Okay, where are you at out of the water?
And the call would continue until the kids eventually found the unconscious body of Fitz. With the help of a man who was walking his dog in the vicinity, the first responders would not arrive until half an hour later, and Fitz Thomas never regained consciousness. Number 7. Alec Baldwin accidental shooting. No one should have to worry about death at their workplace, especially not filmmakers. Unfortunately, Helena Hutchins did not have that luxury when she tragically lost her life on the set of famous actor Alec Baldwin. Helena Hutchins, who was the cinematographer, was preparing to shoot a scene when Alec Baldwin accidentally discharged a prop gun while rehearsing for the scene. The 911 call that was made shows just how fickle life can be. However, Helena Hutchins was not the only victim. The director, Joel Souza, also got shot, but he survived. Dave Halls, the assistant director who gave Alec Baldwin the gun, would later admit that he didn't check the gun before rehearsing the scene because he was convinced it contained dummy bullets. And when the police interrogated Alec Baldwin himself, who happened to be a producer on the film, he said he did not pull the trigger and had no idea how a live bullet got on set. Eventually, investigations would reveal that the armorer on set, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, was inexperienced and had had a similar non-fatal incident on a previous set that caused actors to walk off in anger. Investigations are still ongoing, but the film producers have since been fined for ignoring firearm safety procedures and showing indifference to employee safety.